How are we today? Today we're going to mix up some cereal, try to get it as healthy as possible. I did this on another video and I had an error in the video and I wanted to correct that. I added some multi-grain Cheerios that was my wife's, and we probably should check this one too. She had this stuff with the fake strawberry, dried out strawberries in it. And I just said they were kind of probably older, no big deal. And I put a little layer in there, and I had it for breakfast. And she had mentioned she had thrown out her multi-grain Cheerios because they were old and they tasted bad. And I went, ah. So this layer right there is the multi-grain Cheerios. And I was like, yeah. Put it in just on a whim. And there's a little bit of the red from this that I haven't tried yet. It's like, oh yeah. So that's what we're going for, that layered look, that sandy layered look. But we're gonna cheat. Kind of soggy. It's crunchy. Strawberry thing's kind of odd. I don't think I'll add it this time. Okay. But I do have this Kashi. I'll probably have to replace, go to the store and get more. My wife, it's got a little bit of a, okay, the sodium is 0 on this. So if you're looking for a low salt, this is what I gotta get. Low salt, cut back on some potassium. And I know most of you are like, I like potassium. Potassium's good for me. I know it's good for you, but if you have kidney issues, you might have to cut back a little bit. So potassium's 190, which is below 200. So, and it's only 0 sodiums. But the sugar included is, total sugar is 9 grams. That's kind of high. And this is why she likes it so much. Because Kashi is usually considered a healthier cereal option, but you have to check every label. You always have to recheck them because they change the formulas. But inside it's got this kind of, this one I can't even see it. Strawberry stuff inside. And it is good. Too much sugar. And that's what happened in my last box of Kashi. Somebody just decided, snack time. It's that good. So it gives it a little flavor, a little kick. If you have to cut back on your sugar, you may want to avoid this one. If you only have to cut back a little bit, you may want this for flavor. Now, we've got Green Wise. I'm going to open a new one of these. All right, my channel Scott Talks, so because I talk all the time. And Green Wise, got it at Publix. 115 sodium, potassium 40. So see, I go down. So by mixing them, you get less potassium. Their sugars total 3 grams. So much less sugars. Oh, cholesterol 0. That's good. So just whatever you're looking for in your diet, every time you have blood work done, check it, check it, check it. And it'll tell you point blank what you need to be looking for. Toasted oats comes in a big box. We can use more of it. It's cheaper that way. Sodium's 150 though. And this one was 115. So maybe not so much. Potassium 130. Sugars 2. So we got a lot less sugar. So let's start with some low sodium. Let's start with this Green Wise, not very expensive. Good brand for corn flakes. Check all the corn flakes, and this one was the best for me. Let's go through some of this other stuff. Yeah, we'll start with that. And we've got our little clip. I love these metal clips. Plastic ones tend to break too quick. I will invest in some metal ones. And that way you've got that. You've got some, plastic ones too. We just put a little bit of everything. Now we've got, there's a little metal one. Fiber 1. Sodium 140, a little high, but not bad. That's under 200. Calcium 130. Potassium 0. So see how it balances out with that higher potassium, the other one. Total sugars, less than 1 gram. And it's fiber. So you get older, you need more fiber. Cholesterol 0. Saturated fats 0. So mixing this into the bunch, and look at these little bags, they come in 2 packs. So you go through them pretty quick. There. Didn't even make a good label. All right. Now let me turn that around. That's going to get recycled, and we put another fiber one. Just happen to have one right here because I knew I was at the end. Oh, this one's in one big packet now. Well, it's nice of them to switch it, trade it up. Okay, we got our fiber, and I don't mind the taste of this. This is pretty good. Okay, we got that, and that. Now for our sugar. A slight bit. I used to love Life cereal for this because it had a little bit of flavor to it. You don't need a lot of this stuff. There you go. Then back to this. Oats. Out of that. Got powdery stuff, don't want too much of that. We'll throw that away. And I got the other oats because I was ready again. Little advice on protein bars. If you're ever at the store and there's more sugar than protein, you're buying a candy bar, okay? That's not a good, healthy protein bar. And with kidney disease, you have to cut back on a lot of the proteins. And now they're saying there's lead in protein powder, so you need to check your brand and how it did, Google how it did for protein, because everybody's crying, oh no, we're at government accepted levels. And they said, yeah, but the test we did, the lead levels are high. And if you ask Google to check for some symptoms for too much lead in your body, the last time I did it for my wife, it came up with some different answers than I got from Google. Alexa came up with different stuff. Shh, don't do anything. There's no ice over there. Okay, so, but a lot of the things it came up with originally was familiar sounding. I was like, I probably could cut back on this protein powder. Get my protein from, sources when you have kidney issues. They tell you to use turkey, chicken, stay away from the red meats so much. It's hard. Anything hard on the kidneys to process, you want to give them a break and be easy with it. And everything that tastes good and it's good for you when you're young, or sort of good for you when you're young, is a no-no. You're kind of reversing back to baby stage. As we get old, we lose muscle mass, we get, our diet has to change, cut back on the coffee. I'm on occasional decaf now, not even every day. The lady was like, occasional, just occasional. I said, well, that's kind of what I was told about a red hamburger, meat hamburger, just occasional, just once in a while you can have a burger. But don't make it an everyday thing like you did when you were working and on the go, go, go. So let's get our next layer. Some oats. A kiss of kashi. Get a little flavor in there. A little fiber. And wrap up with our 115 sodium. How's that? That'll be a good mixture. Shake. This has a little flip top. Oops. Come. Grab it here, pour it here. Cut it. It's a neat little thing. Neat little guy. And we close them up to put them back in the pantry. That. There's a big open one here. Big old clip. There you go. So this is November 2025. This is my current cereal. My add-ons for the cereal are blueberries. I get, just a few here at the bottom. Got this crate and barrel. You can use anything. It's got holes in it because you want to rinse it with cold water. Get some blueberries, put it in here. You have any nuts? I've got a little thing here. You can crunch up, just keep them kind of crunchy if you have like a big almond or walnut or something. Instead of having a giant walnut in here, you just kind of crack it up to have some crunchy flavor. I like to use sunflower seeds, unsalted. One of these Parmesan things came in handy for unsalted. It has a little flip top, so you can just sprinkle it in. Give you a little extra crunch in your cereal. And there's the other unsalted container. That's about out of this. Forgot to put the expiration date on, so I guess I'll figure it out. But just a few of these, you can crunch them a little with your walnut to get a couple of them to powder, and or flax seeds, something like that would be healthy. But basically the sunflower seeds are the main thing. I'll do just a little, and they warn, just a little's good. You can have it. They got potassium in them, so just a little, but too many is too much. Same thing with blueberries. Super helpful. If you have any kind of kidney issues, they tell you apples, chop them up, not the applesauce. I've got some of that. It's too processed. So chop it up, chop the apples up. I just gave some to my wife for, she went to work, and I made her a sandwich, coffee, ice water, and chopped an apple up and chop, 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 chop. Because, the chef has to taste stuff. So I've had some apples already today. But an apple or so is great for you for a snack. The blueberries can be good little snacks if you're not putting in your cereal. Just don't overdo it. Everything. Don't take too many vitamins. Don't overdo it. Don't, my wife's got this calcium mix powder. And the problem with lead, I'm like, I put less powder in it. So she would get her calcium, but she's not getting a big scoop that might have too much lead in it. And she's like, when she checked with Alexa the lead levels, what it causes your body to do, it was all the dangerous stuff. And she's like, I don't have any of those symptoms. But when I did it on Google, I got symptoms that a lot of us have in the real world. And I was like, I don't need that. I don't need that crap. So I cut back on the calcium. I've still got it down there. I orgained plant-based calcium powder. But yeah, all the problems with lead, too much lead, the risk, I was like, I don't know. Maybe not. So cutting back on salt is a big thing I do. And we have salt-based water softener. Again, salt. And what is it? Potassium is the other non-salt based stuff. So phosphorus, I think it's right. And kidney problems, you don't want that either. You definitely want that because that really gets in your bloodstream and that's bad. So that's worse. But so if you're at the store buying the box thing of salt, don't say, I'll get the salt substitute instead. No, just get the salt. But what I did, I got my Almond Freeze milk, because that's the milk since I have to cut back on dairy. Everything you got to cut back on. See this? It's just, it's anything that happened to your parents, it's coming for you. It's coming for you. So I peel the labels off and I put a little date on for the plastic, because I don't want to be using the same plastic thing over and over and over. And I just rotate several of these. I got 4. One's down in the closet, which I just moved. This guy's empty. It's going to get some water in it. And there are 2 out in the garage. One's got water in it. Now, no, one's going to get water in it because I haven't done it this morning yet. But I'll go out there and fill this up with spigot water from outside the spigot, which does not have the salt water from the softener going through it. And the guy on Dad Advice TV, which is a YouTube channel, really does some great work on kidney disease and things you need to cut back on and what you need. He's very helpful. We usually get Gala apples, and he was like, yeah, I had the So Delicious apples and they weren't so delicious. And I was like, yeah, so we get Gala, and I think he had Gala, and we get that, and we'll chop up an apple. And the more you chop it up, the more pieces you get to eat. And so I'll chop hers up in slices, but then I'll cut those slices in half. So she'll be, every time she reaches in her little Tupperware thing, she's got a piece of apple. So that comes in handy. But this is full of water, and I'll use it to drink my water, because I got to drink a lot of water, and take vitamins and different things they tell you, medications and stuff for high blood pressure, just everything. Everything goes wrong when you get older. Isn't that amazing? So this is my water that doesn't have the salt, hopefully, in it. Still tastes like Florida water. My daughter hates it. She gets down here and she goes, it tastes bad, Dad. Well, I said, we bought you some bottled water. Thanks. Yeah. So like, share, and subscribe if you learned anything. And, you know, check your labels for what you need. Every time you get blood work done, it'll tell you what's in the red. You got too much of this. You got too much of that. Your blood sugar's going up. Cut back on the sugars. You may not get the Kashi. And look at some of this other Kashi stuff. And even Greenwise, some of their other boxes of cereal that you were like, oh, here's a Raisin Bran. Here's a frosted flaky thing. Honey nuts. Here's this and that. And, you know, that's from the same brand that's healthy. And you look at the label like, whoa, that's not healthy. So always be kind of checking them and write them down for what you need. If you need low salt in your diet, which most of us that are getting older do, they just go heart, and you're like, yeah, okay, whatever. Or get the sugar down, ask your doctor, or Google it. You have to do what you got to do for yourself. You've got to sometimes be your own doctor. You get the advice from the doctor, you look at the blood work, and you Google the heck, and you watch the videos, and you hope you got something going for you. Because a lot of times the doctors say, well, cut back on this, cut back on that. All right, what does that mean? And they pat you on the back and you leave because they can't stand there all day and lecture you and print. They don't print out forms for you like, this is it. Eat this. I mean, it would be nice to have, this is your breakfast. This is, you know, that's what nutritionists get hired for money. Or dietitians, you know, and that's a profession. And the doctor's not going to step on their toes because they want the dietitians to recommend them and they want to recommend them. So you got to do what you got to do for yourself. You got to really take care of yourself, look at your family history, check that blood work, what's too high, what can I do to fix this, Google the heck out of it. Don't believe everything you see on Google, don't believe everything you see on YouTube, don't believe this video. You know, you might go, Scott, that Kashi, you got how much sugar? I was like, what? She said, Scott, that's too much. So, and you see, it's got total sugars, 9 grams, includes 9 grams added sugars. That's what I argue with my wife. I said, it says added sugar. It's 18% sugar, which could be a little too high for most of you. And 23% fiber, which is good. Total carbohydrate, 17%. And only 1% fat, 5% protein, 7 grams. So potassium was 190, calcium 10, niacin 25%, zinc 10%. So you're getting stuff in your diet, you know. You're getting it. It doesn't close very well. They didn't spend much money on that. Okay. So again, like, share, and subscribe, and have a great day.